Today is a special day because it marks 2 years of my YouTube channel. Oh well, yesterday was, but we'll just ignore that. And recently, about a month ago, I hit 10,000 subscribers and I promised that I would make a Q&A video. So just to hit 2 birds with 1 stone, here's the Q&A for my 10k subscribers, but it's also my 2-year anniversary video. Now just before we get into the Q&A, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's supported me along my journey so far. Everyone who's left a nice comment and liked my videos, subscribed obviously, and of course all the members of the channel, either past or right now. I wouldn't be here without any of you, so thank you for all your support. But anyways, I'm not quitting anytime soon, so like, you can expect a 3rd anniversary, 4th anniversary, 5th anniversary video. But anyways, let's actually just get to the Q&A. Now this Q&A is quite long. I'm going to answer questions, but I might yap for a bit on some of them, and other ones I might just answer in like very quickly. So I'll leave timestamps for every single question if you want to just skip through, if you find a question boring or you don't want to listen to me yap for so long. I'm also leaving a lot of technical questions to the end of the video, so if you want to know how, like, you know, if you ask any questions about like things in UEFN, like you want to know how something works or etc, those are at the end of the video. But anyways, let's just hop right into it. First one is, why do what you do? And then also, hey, small question, what got you into Fortnite Creative and UEFN? Also, congrats on 10k subscribers. Okay, so what mainly got me into Fortnite Creative was really, when I was growing up, I played a lot of stuff like Minecraft, Little Big Planet. It kind of just like ignited that spark, you know, the video game. I like video games, you know. I would make like really crude obstacle courses that my friends would do. It wasn't anything serious. I was just screwing around. I was just passing the time, you know, as you do. Now, as time went on, when Fortnite Creative came out, that was also kind of how I started Fortnite Creative. I think the first things I did in Fortnite Creative was mainly, it was literally around the time when Scissors was making all his death runs. I made the Howtwoboss death run, and my friend group would just play it all together. And eventually, that would evolve into the formation, or I guess the early like beginning of Dreamlands. Now, Dreamlands is what really got me into Fortnite Creative, because keep in mind, at this time, I had no creator code. I literally had 0 people watching me, or because I didn't even have a channel. Literally all I was doing, I was just making stuff. and I really liked it. Now, that's also why if you go back and play Dreamlands right now, you're gonna find out that it's especially the classic season 1, they're making it slightly better. Classic one's a lot more crude and kind of slapped together. Story's a bit rough and other things like that, because again, I made it when I didn't even think anybody would see it. And at the time, like, I don't think anybody knew that in the future there would be UEFN and you'd be able to monetize maps and all the stuff we have now. I saw that I could turn my weird hobby of mine into something like a career, maybe. And now that has evolved into this YouTube channel and what I'm making right now, which is Dreamlands 2. I'm going to talk about a little bit more of that later. That was a bit more of a lore recap. Like, the question is more like, why do this? So I think after a long time of, you know, silently observing the community, and also being in it for years, kind of eventually gave me the perspective and skills I have now. Now, my goal of this channel was never to actually become a content creator. Mainly my plan was just to use this channel as a way to promote my maps, and also then do the occasional tutorial once in a while. But after making a few videos, I kind of got addicted. Okay, I kind of didn't stop. And then 2 years and 10,000 subscribers later, and a few map releases later, I'm here now. Now, I do what I do mainly because I believe the Fortnite creative scene has been, you can probably see it's been a little bit stagnant, okay? I want to push for innovation, and you've seen it in all my videos. One of the big reasons why I make tutorials is because I want people to understand things easier, so it'll be more accessible to new people. My other element is obviously critiquing Epic on how they make the algorithm and how they, it's pretty terrible at it. I think as a resultant of that, a lot of the community outside creative, like outside of Fortnite even, has labeled a lot of Fortnite UGC as slop, okay? And now I do agree there's a ton of you know, slop content, and I think a lot of the Fortnite community, and the reason why it's failing to really grow, if that makes sense, to the degree that Roblox has. Not saying Roblox is perfect or anything, but I'm just saying that for Fortnite to ultimately form into its own ecosystem, it needs to have more diverse content, better systems in place to show that content to players, and then a more diverse audience to actually play the content. If we don't have any of that, it's not going to grow. We're just going to stagnate the current audience. We're just going to completely relapse the current audience over and over again until eventually they'll dwindle out because they get bored. Now, okay, I know Steal the Brainrot is a whole big thing right now. I know people either like Steal the Brainrot or don't like it. It affects the perception of Fortnite creative outside the game because, again, it is, you know, it's the front thing of Fortnite creative right now, and it's, you know, a on the paper Brainrot AI game. Now, the actual game is actually, I'm gonna be honest, it's not that bad, okay? It's well made, the events are cool, there's obviously a huge community that likes it, but I think the main issue right now is that it's the only thing that's successful in the ecosystem. There needs to be more things, okay? There needs to be more things that are successful to, you know, have the ecosystem be better. And then, of course, the really narrow way to scope reviews things, the arbitrary metrics, and very holistic ways of, like you know, comparing maps. In my mind, I think my channel is helping people to learn how to be more innovative, Now, of course, this is a whole uphill battle. You know, it's like Sisyphus and the Rock, bro. It's kind of it's not going to be easy, okay? And especially when you're in the Fortnite ecosystem, okay? But I'm not going to stop fighting, okay? I never will. In my mind, I'm future-proofing for the future. When UEFN really like takes off, when the bar gets raised, a lot of the information on my channel will be very useful for people who don't know how to make more innovative, different content. I use more advanced mechanics in UEFN. Why I do what I do is because I want more innovation for the creative. That's the TLDR of that, okay? Alright, next question. When face reveal? So you know when the heat death of the universe happens? Probably around then. Oh, okay, but if you want an actual answer, okay? I like the anonymity of not being able to show my face, okay? Now, I might change my mind in the future, okay? It gives a more professional, you know, look, I guess, because you're actually showing your face as a face behind the work. Now, I'm gonna keep it unrevealed for now, okay? But maybe a million subscribers, we'll see. The next question is, what features would you, as in me, especially, how do you say that word? Oh my god. I think it's supposed to be specifically like to see on UEFN. Okay, well, what I would like to see is generally, in the Daft Punk event, there was this really cool feature called Experience Travel. This basically allows you to create your maps and have hubs and basically connect different experiences together, and then have all the players and all the data of those maps and experiences flow into each other, into the main experience, and you can have like entire hubs of experiences. This is what I want in UEFN right now. This is like my #1 on my wish list. Imagine like, I don't know, Hypixel Minecraft. If you played Minecraft, on Hypixel, there's a bunch of different little like game modes and all the different servers, and you teleport around from the hub into all these different little smaller places and lobbies where you can play the games and everything. It's like levels in a video game or a single player map, chapters or episodes, or you know. That's what I'm trying to do with Dreamlands right now. I wanna wait for this to come out so I can because it probably will come out really soon, I'm gonna guess, because this is probably how Disney's gonna work. So I wanna wait for this to come out so that I can combine all Dreamlands together, and hopefully, instead of having to put all the chapters on my creator page, which looks kind of messy, or having to make a hub island, I could just make one single island that connects everything, which is what I want. And of course, we can't forget that this also will circumvent island memory as well, so it's also very useful like that. Because again, if you run out of memory, you can just start a new experience or a new project and then cook that into the main one, and then you can just do it again. Next question is, hey bro, question for you. What made you pick your avatar, the character you make videos with? I feel this being explained in a video would be cool. Heart emoji. Okay, the reason why I picked the Reaper, or the Fortnite John Wick, is mainly because I'm a huge fan of John Wick movies. Okay, I know what you're gonna say. Well, actually, if you wanted to actually be a fan of the John Wick series, you would use the official John Wick licensed skin instead of using the Reaper from Chapter 1, Season 3. Well, okay. Well, firstly, the Reaper was already my main skin when it came out for literally the entirety of Fortnite. And secondly, I think it's better if I have a non-collab skin as my main avatar, I guess, and have the Fortnite original one because it's just better for branding, and I won't run into like, you know, legal issues of using the likeness of people. But oh well, it's been my main skin forever, so I'm just gonna use him. Next question, were you sad that Reaper didn't get a skin in the OG pass? I know I was. Yes, I was very, okay. And I was hoping he would at least get something, okay, anything, but alas, nothing. Okay, good news is though, is that there are leaks for jackets and hats coming in Chapter 7, so maybe I can make something, maybe we can finally make him look different with those. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Next question, are you in college/university, or did you go to one? Okay, right now, no. I did have plans, but not to reveal anything personal. I sort of got a bit sidetracked, okay? I might go in the future, but right now in Ireland, where I live, college is good for opportunity, but there isn't really much opportunity to use that opportunity, you know what I mean? Do you have like a big map project you are working on? And then also, are you working on any good quality maps like Road to Alexandria? Oh, okay, all right. Now, the big one right now that I'm really going to be focusing on as through 2026 is Dreamlands 2, the sequel to my older map, Dreamlands, which is a story like focused map thing. Now, Dreamlands 2 follows obviously the same story and plot of where Season 4 of Dreamlands 1 left. It's about 5 years in the lore after. Now, expect a full 10 to 15 hour cinematic experience, packed with cutscenes, dialogue choices, wild set pieces, and voice act, which I should be able to do. Okay, this also might be an original score as well. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, we'll see how that goes. Now, I've been working on Dreamlands 2 since UEFN first launched. That's literally before I made my YouTube channel. I've been working on it for like quite a while. Now, after a small break, like remaking Dreamlands 1, a bunch of other stuff, and also Road to Alexandria, But now I'm fully back in the saddle, animating, writing the whole story, and I've completely abandoned a lot of the old ways Dreamlands worked with like billboards as to convey the story, because I'm going to use cutscenes now with audio instead of just plain text dumping everything, because honestly that just is not very good. It's overwhelming and it just kind of ruins the immersion. I think Dreamlands 2 is going to be a huge improvement of that, especially with the characters. I'm making like a script right now for like a TV show. I've been working on the script for quite a while. Like I've been just kind of brainstorming over the past few years. Like where are the characters going to go? Where are they back? What are they going to do? Who are they anymore? And if you're a huge fan of the first Dreamlands, I don't think a lot of people really played the first Dreamlands. So I'm making Dreamlands 2 in the mindset of that people haven't really played Dreamlands 1. There's going to be a lot of ways you can actually be able to learn about the old story and have the characters and everything that's happened to them in your mind, even if you haven't played the first one. Mainly the way I'm going to do that is mainly through a codex, which is like a kind of like a Mass Effect, Death Stranding 2 kind of style thing where you can go through and reveal the lore, everything that's already happened. And of course, I'll update throughout the story and you'll be able to learn new things and keep track of things and stuff like that. It should be pretty cool. Now, as for the release date, you're probably wondering when it's actually going to come out. Now, originally I was going to go for December this year, but I gotta be honest, I'm not going to make it for December. So it's going to be coming when it's ready, okay? So I'm aiming for about Q2 to Q3 2026. You probably won't see any new releases of maps from me until then, because I'm going to be fully focusing on Dreamlands 2. Now, this is easily the biggest project I've ever made, okay? And honestly, I think it's the one that will finally show what UEFN was really capable of, okay? I'm going for above and beyond here. If you played Road to Alexandria or the remake of Dreamlands Season 1 earlier this year, this is like those two combined times 10, okay? Honestly, I kind of used both of them as more of a test for Dreamlands 2 with how player animations will work, etc. And from what I've seen, a lot of you seem to love Road to Alexandria with all the cool cutscenes and mechanics. Now, is Road to Alexandria perfect? No, okay. I made that in a month. Now imagine what I can do with a few years and an entire world of lore built up. Anyways, I'm going to be sharing more as the development continues, and maybe even some gameplay before the end of the year, who knows, but we'll see how it goes. Alright, next question. What kind of maps or experiences are you most excited to see come from Fortnite in the future? Are there many game ideas that you think could only work in UEFN? Mainly, I'm just most excited for really anything that feels different. That being said, UEFN does have the advantage of creating experiences with mainly Fortnite stuff, so you can look at somebody like Genesis Studios and what the events they make, and of course also branded experiences. I wouldn't been able to make Road to Alexandria and been able to use the Walking Dead universe IP unless if I made my own licensing deal or something like that. UEFN opened up that really cool avenue, which I think is pretty cool. And soon with Disney and at the end of the year with Star Wars, there's a lot of potential, especially because since Fortnite and Disney have like the partnership, so the only place you can find Disney stuff will be on Fortnite, I think. Anyways, I don't know, bro. That's the kind of content that's really unique to UEFN. You have to access the entire Fortnite IP and that whole library of assets while also having a bunch of brand stuff you can also use, which is pretty crazy. And also, again, the way UEFN is extremely accessible to a lot of people because Epic have already built a lot of the systems to make a game. It's like something like Roblox, okay? You can get into Roblox Studio, but again, you kind of have to learn everything, okay? And in Fortnite, you don't have to learn everything. You can use like a device that does something that you don't want to really make the mechanics of, etc, etc. Now again, because of that, there's a lot more limitations on what you can actually do, which I believe Epic are hopefully going to expand in the future with like scene graph and everything. But anyways, we'll see how it goes. Anyways, next question. What kind of maps do you like the most? I think it's pretty clear that story maps is the stuff I like. My favorite game, okay, is Red Dead Redemption 2. Other notable favorite games would be God of War, Death Stranding. I know that's a controversial one, but I love Death Stranding. The list goes on. I like games that can really just make a good story, okay? And have like a cinematic feel to them. Next question is, what is your vision for the future of platforms like Fortnite and Roblox? Okay, well, strictly talking about player counts, to look at the future, we gotta look at the past. Not even 2 years ago did Fortnite and Roblox have really close player counts. Now, Roblox obviously was higher, but it was way closer and the ratio was way like less than it is now. Now, in the past year, that has obviously drastically changed, and Roblox is dominating right now with 30 million concurrent players or whatever it is. Fortnite is not doing as well as much. But I will say very soon, I'm talking the next year or so, the big UEFN boom or something like that will happen, okay? Once Epic finally fixes the darn ecosystem, implements more reliable ways to turn your games into a business and find and cultivate audiences, we'll see the same massive attraction that Roblox is currently getting. Because again, the ecosystem is not diverse enough, okay? We only have like, what, Steal the Brain Rot. Okay, that's all, like that's it. That's just a copy of Roblox, okay? We need Epic to finally make Discover so it actually will promote different things. So we get different players who like different things into the ecosystem. Finally actually grow this thing, okay? Let's grow it. That's really what the future is, really. It's just gonna be, I think eventually, I don't think Epic are pretty diehard with making UEFN successful. They're obviously not gonna abandon all of it. Like, eventually it should turn out well, I think. All right, next question. Any chance we can collab on a map? Okay, I've had this question before, okay? Sorry to decline, but I'm like Batman, okay? I like to work alone. And same thing with this C. Dave Vern collab for when. Now again, I know he's been wanting to do one, okay? I don't hate the guy, okay? I think his content is great. But again, I'm like Batman, okay? I keep to myself mostly, and I kind of like just working on my own stuff. But who knows, okay? Maybe I might pop up randomly someday. I have no idea. Okay, next question. I have more than an idea for you. Rather than a question, what if you host monthly map testing sessions and feature them on your Discord or YouTube? Okay, anyway, speaking of C. Dave Roanoke, I know he hosts these kind of events. I said this in the last Q&A, but again, not to burst your bubble, okay? I don't really have the time to coordinate all this. I just prefer if people just submit their maps in the comments and then I can just go check them out and put the video if they're good. But anyways, okay, next question. Do you have a Discord server? If not, have you ever considered making one for the community? I have, okay, but again, I don't have the time. Instead of making videos for this channel, I'm either doing real life stuff or just working on UEFN. I think right now, I like YouTube. It's pretty chill for the community, and it's also easier for me to just keep track of. If you want, I can turn on the community feature in YouTube. Basically just like Reddit on YouTube. If you want to like submit posts or something, I don't know how that will go, but if anybody likes that idea, let me know. The next one is, where would you promote creative maps from the community? And are you interested in seeing more story-focused maps? And also, where all would you promote a map that you have created? Now, generally speaking, where you promote a map is mainly would be the Reddit, Twitter, the FN Create Discord. TikTok is also very useful. I should probably be doing more with my TikTok now that I think about it. And of course, if you have the Ching Disband, you can also get your map into the sponsored row and Discover. But also, answer your question is that I'm interested in seeing more story-focused maps. Yes, of course, I am. I want to see more story-focused maps. I love story maps. Give me more. Next question is, are you a full-time YouTuber? I doubt that you're not. Okay, I'm technically part-time. It's split between YouTube and UEFN and other stuff. But a few months back, it did feel really like full-time, like how much time I spent on it. But next question, do you make enough money from video creation and UEFN to live off? Okay, I actually make a decent amount. It's nothing too crazy. It's just a few hundred a month and a few bursts from like maps I release, but it's definitely not enough to live off of. Okay, do you have any plans for different kind of content in the future? You already covered tutorials, your own maps and recommendations. Have you thought about making interviews? Okay, interviews are not really my style, okay? I know people like Immature Gamer has pivoted to more that kind of style of content. I think it's cool. He's the interview guy now. But honestly, no, mainly this channel is going to just be tutorials, commentaries. I have no plans to do interviews. I'm not really an interviewer. Next question. How do you visually, by a thumbnail, make your map stand out? Okay, well, following the rules of Discover right now is just basically just cranking the saturation to the max. Generally, it's just more graphic design and composition. A well-designed thumbnail that shows maybe the title of the game and something maybe the player can expect. Usually the best thing you can do right now is mainly hire someone a really good thumbnail. If you don't know how to make a thumbnail, it's just better just to hire somebody who does know instead of trying to do it yourself. If you have the money. If you don't have the money, then I think there's tutorials out there you can learn about. Or if you're already just naturally good at graphic design, maybe you just make it yourself. And now, of course, you can use AI, I guess. But usually a handcrafted thumbnail looks a lot more professional and looks less, sloppy. No, just keep in mind that the rest of the questions for this Q&A are mainly just technical questions. So, alright, next one is, I have a question for the Q&A. Unfortunately, the brightness in my Battle Royale map has been extremely bright for months. I haven't installed a skylight, daylight, or post-processing device, and unfortunately, I haven't been able to fix this yet. I created the map around 1.5 years ago, and in January, February 2025, everything was still normal. I took a break, and then I wanted to continue building in April. Since then, my map is extremely bright and therefore unplayable. Do you/anyone reading this comment know what I could do? Okay, so if you didn't know, If you're in 1.0, they removed the sky dome device, which is how lighting was originally made, and everything now uses the day sequence device. So if you want to make your lighting look better, firstly, what I would do is first I would get a day sequence device if you're in 1.0, and if you're in UEFN, I'd get a day sequence device and also a post-process volume. First, you want to look at the settings skylight in the day sequence device. This is similar to how ambient light worked in the old skydome device. The intensity might be too high, just reduce it and your map should look better. So if you're in 1.0, I'd recommend doing this. Next is the post-process volume. If you're in UEFN, you want to go up to Actors tab and just add it to your map, and then inside the settings of it, you want to look for exposure. As lumen can sometimes be too bright outside or too dark inside, or the opposite, these two controls right here are mainly what controls that affect where your eyes adjusting to the light or whatever that they're trying to replicate. To turn this off, you can set them both to 0, and you'll have constant light on your map that won't change at all. And then you can increase the skylight in a day sequence device to increase the constant light on your map, or decrease it obviously if it's too bright. If you want more information, I recommend looking at this video I made. It's about like the skydome device changes and everything like that, and how to convert your islands and everything. Next question is, could we get a battle royale tutorial? You can teach others POI design, storm devices, loop pool, etc. Now, I've actually made a ton of tutorials that will basically have battle royale mechanics. I've obviously made my battle bus videos. I've made a storm video. I've made custom loop pool video. I have level streaming, memory, H2LB video if you want to watch that. I do actually, since I have courses now on my YouTube channel, I've actually made a playlist of all the different things you need for a battle royale tutorial. So if you want to if you want to get the basics of how to make a battle royale, we can watch all those videos that I put. I haven't actually made a video about POI design yet, maybe in the future, but I have made like landscape videos or like how to make different biomes back in a few years ago. If you want to watch those. Our next question is there a way to avoid blocking other players into playing a cinematic, or when it's on Instigator only? From what I know, in a cinematic sequencer, if you do Instigator only, it'll only display for obviously the Instigator only. You can use a device like a mutator zone to get all the players and play it for everybody, or specific kind of players, or you can base it on team or something like that. So to activate the sequence, you activate a mutator instead that has a specific team or class inside of it, and then every single player that's inside of it, they will then see the sequence if they're the correct team or class. Make more video to make live event, full tutorial to make custom gun and projectile graph. Okay, well, I do have plans to make a live event tutorial. It's something I've wanted to do for quite a while. So I might do that down the road. Now the thing about the custom gun and projectile scene graph thing, I could do a tutorial about that, but again, in about a month or two, Epic should be releasing this support for custom weapons in scene graph, just like they did with items. So I'm gonna wait for that first. The next question is it worth financially to keep adding and updating maps? Will they ever push our maps? Seems like the top 100 creators are the same and newcomers aren't even getting a chance. Okay, well, this kind of is like, you should be updating your maps and you should be adding stuff to it and everything and iterating. That's like the essence of UEFN. You need to be doing that a lot. The better the updates, the better the stats, the higher the chance you have to make it in Discovery. Let alone Discover pushes your map after an update, or attempts to, I guess. But so updating is very important to actually get more chances to get into Discover. But the problem is the current new and updated tab. Currently, it is terrible. Okay, so it's not exactly updating this problem. It's the fact that there's so many little chances we're actually getting through into the ecosystem because of the new and updated tab. That's why you see the same top 100 creators, because there's never anybody who can break through unless if they get really lucky. Now hopefully in the future Epic will make it better, but that being said, is it worth financially to keep adding the update maps? Of course, if you actually make it into Discover and everything, because the longer you Discover, the more money you get, obviously, so it'll be financially worth it in time. Next question is, how can we make something similar to Blitz Royale? Well, from what I know, Blitz Royale is like a mobile focused experience, and I think the matches last about 5 minutes. So if you're making a map, you want to make your map small, you want to make it so it's nice and slim, so it has a low memory count, low project size, so mobile people can play pretty quickly. Make your games last only 5 minutes, so you can use like storm devices to do that. Make the storm close like after 5 minutes, or just something like that. This question is cinematic device the main tool to make a horror map? Generally speaking, you would want to use a cinematic device because that's how you set up jump scares, how you can make the monster move around. The second best one is probably the post-process volume and the whatever the day sequence device. Those will give you the atmosphere you need, and also maybe the audio player for all the the sound effects. Next question is how to be able to throw an item. Like if I get a football from Fab, I can actually throw the item. So currently in UEFN, I think if you use custom items, you won't be able to have the feature of throwing the item like what you do with like a consumable item, like a med kit. If you mean more like how you have the snowball, I think it's called the throwable spawner device. Basically, you can make a mesh of something and you can place it down in your world and you'll be able to throw it. And so you can have whatever you want in the mesh. So you can have a football as a mesh. Next question is, do you think we should use Verse to run Creative 1.0 mechanics or run them with devices? Well, generally speaking, Verse will be a lot better because devices are a little bit, they do have limits obviously, and they do affect memory. So anything you can circumvent through Verse is great. So for example, if you have a health power up, you can make that in through Verse if you just get the fourth character of the player and add health to them. Stuff like that. There's different ways you can circumvent different devices. So usually you just want to use Verse because it'll help out overall with, with like running the game. Now, of course, Verse doesn't have all the power, okay? So some features are only able to use with devices. So in those cases, you want to use a device. And of course, I think this is the second last question. Do you think custom items will properly change published UEFN maps within this year? Do you think they will be in beta by then? Is the way custom items have been implemented the best way? Okay, in my opinion, I think custom items will definitely change a lot of things. It basically opens up the avenue for creating your own mechanics, your own currencies, your own everything, really. It's something people wanted for years for a reason. It's very important for making your own games, basically. Especially with SceneGraph and be able to control it through SceneGraph and Verse. It's gonna be pretty cool. Now, I do think they will be in beta by then. I think they might be out next month, honestly, when Chapter 7 comes out, because with in-game island transactions, Epic probably would want that to be out with custom items selling, if that makes sense. So probably you see both marketplaces and custom items in beta by then. Is the way custom items have been implemented the best way? Well, in my opinion, I think the best way is SceneGraph. So I want to say that is because if they do it through a device or do it through anything else, make it really like rigid, it's not going to be very good for if you want to customize it, if that makes sense. I think SceneGraph is the best way to do it because it leaves it open-ended. It's connected all throughout Verse, so you can just do whatever you want with the item. Now, hopefully in the future, they add better ways to do it where you don't have to use Verse as much. Opponents inside SceneGraph, there has been leaks for a lot of components they're going to be adding. We'll see how that goes. But anyways, and the last question of this video is Fortnite's AI helper reliable? And to be honest, I have no idea because I never use it. I've heard things about it that it helps people pretty well. I don't know if it can do like large scale things, but maybe like if it's a simple thing or I have a bug in Verse or something, it might be helpful for that. I honestly have no clue. I don't use it. So yeah, that's about it. And that's about it for the Q&A. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks again for 10,000 subscribers. I know I'm very late to that, but thank you. It's also thank you for 2 years of my YouTube channel. Thank you again for everybody, etc., etc. Subscribed, liked, been a member, donated. I forgot to mention that at the start of the video. That's about it, and I'll see you all around.